Hey everybody, and welcome to Falcon Checks Out Unclaimed World. Now I'm really excited about this title itself. If you are a regular viewer for the channel, you will know that Unclaimed World is going to be something really along the lines of stuff that I like to cover regularly. Be prepared for a lot of references to RimWorld, comparisons here and there. Not that I'm saying that Unclaimed World's basically like a copy of that, that's far from the truth, but there are a lot of similarities that both games share. And you know, both games happen to be still in the alpha stages, kind of developing and whatnot. Either game seems to do one thing better than the other too, which is a really good comparison point for a lot of this, so expect a lot of that. To give you a little background of Unclaimed World though, essentially, this game has a little bit of more of a story than something like RimWorld does right off the bat. Basically, if you see over here to the area, you'll see like a timeline, right? Essentially, what this tells you in a nutshell, Earth was struck with like an asteroid in the Atlantic Ocean, a lot of shit went down, yada yada yada, so basically it's up to a certain, I guess, group in the, I guess, Earth's embassy altogether, not just a single nation, but, you know, it's basically a disaster where a lot of the Earth's powers have to get together, try to figure out a way to, I guess, colonize certain other places, right? And that's what Unclaimed World is. I mean, you know, hence the title, right? But, you know, all that little background stuff aside, let me actually get into the game here. It's gonna be a little bit of loading right here. You'll start off with a journal entry to start off. There's going to be a lot more journal entries as you go through the game because there is a little bit more, I guess, emphasis on background story for Unclaimed World. For this, you got Journal Entry 1, recorded by Ward Conlan, also present is Joaquin Lehrer, Augustine Ybarra, and Ilya Khan. We have no way of contacting the other mission members as long as our satellite transmitter is defective. Until connection is back, we will keep a locally stored journal. This is the first entry. We have escaped a catastrophic attack by quadites that happened approximately 2 hours ago. Only minor injuries are reported. Our vehicle, however, is non-functional after damage sustained in the attack and a subsequent crash landing. We've landed in a firegrass biome. Geographical data are incomplete, and this biome has only been partially documented during the previous months of research. Still, we know enough about this environment to expect species of quadites, so we only hope to see the vicious swarmer quadite that attacked us earlier today. We only hope not to see them, obviously. You don't want to see that people again, or the quadites that jacked you up beforehand. You don't want to see them again necessarily. Makes perfect sense, right? So while this loads up for us here, which actually loaded up pretty quickly, this is pretty much the interface, or we're going to be spending most of your time in Unclaimed World, as you can imagine. Much like RimWorld, once again, a comparison, your spaceship or your vehicle, vessel, whatever you want to call it, has crash landed on this world that you've been trying to essentially, I guess, do with some scouting, see if it's colonizable, etc., etc. Not this particular area. This is unfortunately an area that they crash landed into because they were attacked, but it is basically up to you to keep these 4 people alive until rescue comes. Now, obviously, the first things you want to do is actually scout the area, research some area, get some stockpiles, get some fires going on, food, etc., etc. I mean, I doubt that that was able to be salvaged when, you know, their ship went down. So, the big difference here between RimWorld is that there is a big emphasis on background story. Think of Unclaimed World as, right now they're calling it, the developers, it's kind of an episodical type of release at the moment. I will get into some gameplay soon enough. Let me just give you a little bit of background here. So think of it as more of an episodical thing. Right now, the biggest, I guess, retractor from Unclaimed World, in my eyes at least, is the fact that there is no sandbox mode available just yet. It is something that is definitely in the works. There is no save system, so basically you're going to be doing this in one sitting. The episode that's available right now with the early access release, basically this right here you see, it's going to be these 4 guys, and you want to keep them alive long enough for rescue to come. And in the meantime, you want to be doing a little bit of researching, yada yada yada. So right now, the early development plans are there's going to be a few more episodes like this, there's going to be a save system being developed, and more importantly, the sandbox mode, which is what I'm really interested in. In contrast to, say, something like RimWorld, where there is not really much of a story unless what you make of it. I mean, there is here and there, you get the gist of what's going on, but there's not really a big emphasis like in character, stuff like that, while in Unclaimed World, all these guys are already predeterminedly named, but they're all part of this crew, essentially, that's over here trying to salvage the Earth and whatnot. So, all that aside, backdrop aside, let's actually get into the game. What do you do here, Falcon? Well, I'm glad you asked, or not really asked, but I'm asking myself in your own shoes. You want to keep these guys alive long enough. The tutorial option will pretty much tell you, or walk you through the steps of what you have to do. So if you go to the tutorial over here, you'll see a little drop down menu, which tells you how to gather materials, right? Let's see, first suggestion, gather firewood and stone. We should gather materials for a fireplace to do so. Drag a zone with left mouse button in an area where you see firewood, select new, then gather. Drag the slider adjacent to firewood, order 2 or more items, click close. Drag a zone in the area where you see small rocks. Do the same thing right there, right? So obviously, first and foremost, probably our main objective here is going to be to get a fire going on just so we could keep warm, get some food going on, because obviously we have no rations to our name. So a good place to do that would probably be look around where you see some stones, and stones will be gathered, and same thing with wood. Normally, I like to go down over here, or up here I should say, for some stones, because we do see some stones right there, right? So we'll basically left click, drag this area over here, and you'll see a little menu over here pop up that says new, and an area that actually makes you cycle through entities in the zone, right? So we're gonna go to new, we're gonna do some gathering. And then over here, obviously we need some stones, so let's go ahead and collect stones for sure. Maybe some sticks will help us out in this endeavor as well, and you'll do that, and then you'll do okay. And this will basically have all of our guys go and do their thing over there. Another thing that you might want to also set up is a place to stock these items. So let's make a quick little stockpile area right about here. And this will be where they go and dump everything off. So let's just do all here. Now mind you, this is really, I guess, in a sense, primitive in a sense where you're going to be gathering stuff. I'm sure that as the game progresses and things more available, you'll be able to build like multiple stockpiles, things like that. As of this moment, I'm not sure if there's going to be a big emphasis on, say, bases and, like, you know, I guess housing, things like that, putting a roof over your head. Right now it's not available, but more than likely down the line, it's something I definitely see the developers working on. While this is going on, you could basically go down over here. This will be the task, what's going on right now. So right now we have gathering sticks, and that's been completed, so never mind. A little bit too late on my part there. But a few things have been collected. So now that was partially stone, we also need some firewood. For firewood, you might want to go and check out, I would say something like over about here, right? So let's do this. Do a new gather, do on this area. And let's see, there's some stones here. I don't see any firewood, to be quite honest with you, though. In order to check what you have in stock, though, you could go down over here and you'll see view the inventory. And this will tell you what you do have in stock right now. So right now we do have empty cartridges, fire suppressant cartridges, some sticks and stones. Will break my bones, but various tree limbs and pieces of wood. So let's see if we are now capable of this fire. I don't think we are, but let's see. We do have sticks and rocks, right? So let's see here. I believe what we want to do is go into this menu over here. I'll let you kind of build certain things, right? So what we're looking for right now is going to be a campfire. And made from firewood and stone. If it's in yellow, it means we don't have it. So as you can see, firewood is indeed yellow, so we obviously cannot build that fire just yet. So what we're going to be doing though instead is going to look for a bit of firewood, and I believe there's some over in this area. So let me just highlight this area here, get a little gather. And there you go, firewood. So let's go ahead and have them collect stuff from that little area right there. Now, okay, one of the things right now, like, again, really early title, a few things that I will, I guess, talk about as we go through this is the fact that some things that I could definitely see improvements on. There's a lot of stuff that they're going to be working on, basically. Again, this is a really early access title. So, one of the things that's, like, probably easier way to kind of figure out what certain things are, right? Because there's going to be options to, like, scout areas and forage areas to kind of make other stuff available so you have an idea what's there. But at least for the player itself, it'd be nice if we just like looked at an area and be like, oh, okay, I think I know what's over here. Because since this is like a otherworldly biome, you're not entirely too certain what the hell is what just yet, right? And what makes what recipe you need for this and that. Obviously, if you go into the building menu and you click on an item like say the Daishin Teepee, for instance, one person temporary shelter, quick reconstruct, it'll tell you what is required in order to make that from. So that is one of the few things you could do to definitely check out your recipe, but keep that in mind. It'll be a little bit easier down the line, I'm sure. So right now, we should more than likely have enough for this firewood, I'd imagine, if we go into our thing. Yeah, so we got firewood 6 ready, and we have the stones available for that. And by the stones, I don't necessarily mean our testicular fortitude or anything like that. So now that we have that built, we could go ahead and see, campfire now has the option to be built, so we could definitely go and build that. And let's say anywhere that it's going to be blue, you could put this fireplace at. So that's our stockpile area, so I might not want to put that right there. So let's see if we can kind of figure out somewhere not too far from our base over here. Well, I mean, fuck that. I guess the stockpile area is going to have to be the area where we place this campfire at. apparently isn't the case anymore. Well, alright guys, you're gonna have to do a little bit of a trip to set that up. So there you go. The fireplace is gonna be placed right there. If you go into your task menu, you'll see that construction campfire is your main task at the moment, and you could switch this up by, this is gonna be like high priority, highest priority, and urgent priority. So you can basically break down certain tasks that you have, like, and whatnot. Again, this is something that I would also like a little bit more expansion on. Probably like RimWorld, how it has like, you could have certain people doing certain things based on, you know, a 1 through 4 type of system where it tells you like, oh, okay, this person's gonna focus on this and focus on this other thing as like a backdrop task for them to do. So at the moment, I'm not entirely sure if there is a way to actually just break down tasks by people individually. If we go into the task menu here, you could also expand this and it'll tell you stones that are on site. It also tells you the status for it. This is almost finished, and that right there is now finished. So we do have a little fireplace right there. So the other thing that we probably need is that I saw over here was this little teepee. An A-frame I-tarpy, I should say, or A-frame tarp, not tarpy. So what we could do here is definitely, there's also a lean-to tarp, which is a lean-to tarp, simple 2-person shelter with a sloping roof covered with thermal tarp. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and give ourselves a little learning, little tarp thing over here. So we have like 2 people just kind of chilling. Alright, so we could put that right there, and then perhaps if we can also get this A-frame tarp for the individual that wants to just kind of live by himself. Kind of like, fuck off, man, I'm a deep sleeper, I'm a wild sleeper, I don't want my flaming limbs to kind of hit you in the middle of the night. And looking around, where can I actually set this down at? I guess over here it's going to be good. So there you go, we can have a few places for them to kind of get going. So we have a fireplace going on somewhere around here. I guess it's somewhere down. Oh, there it is. Firewood is down right there, or the fireplace is down right there. It's a little bit far off from them, but you know, that's kind of the thing. So we have a place for them to kind of lay their heads at, a little fireplace. Foraging is probably the next thing. So with foraging is going to actually, if I guess I would just read it off of this, make it a lot easier for everybody involved. Third suggestion, forage for hidden resources. We could search the surrounding to detect unseen resources to do so. You drag a zone close to the crashed aircraft as indicated in the image, select new, and then forage. And then there's a few more other things to do. Since I already know how to do this, I will basically just summarize at this point. Now, basically, you want to forage an area for oil tubers, which is going to be needed in the cooking process for, you know, keep these guys nourished and whatnot. So we could do that. What the hell is this? String quiet efficient. And what is this? Bushcraft expert. Alright, so Conlan's over here developing quite a few skills, it seems. Bushcraft expert. This is actually the first time I actually run into this, so I am just as perplexed about this as you are. But let's actually move on to what I do know at the moment. So basically, if you go and highlight this whole area, well, yeah, let's highlight this whole area over here. And we're going to do a forage section over here. And once again, when you have a certain task going on, you could also, like, you know, the forage we have going on, I could always go in here and either delete it, like if I want them to just completely cease their activities on that, I could always just highlight that, click delete, and it'll stop them from doing what the hell they're up to. If we go into our task menu here, our construction is underway on both the lean tarpy and the A-frame tarpy. And it does seem that they have finished the foraging. That was actually quite fast. Now, Laner, I do believe we have certain things to be built. You and your pal, Joaquin, oh, that's the same guy. You and your pal, Khan, from Rathacon, need to really stop with the chit-chat and help us out over here to get your roofs over your head. So now that we've actually foraged this area, though, what that does is it lets you essentially discover hidden items, right? So now we go into gather. We have nothing but stone here, so that's absolutely no use to us, so never mind. Let me actually try this once again with a spot over through here. And we'll make this a new forage area. Alrighty, and now if we go into our task menu, we could probably make this a status not started. So the lean-to tarp is almost halfway there. So what if we break this down really quickly to make this like priority, and then make the foraging like an urgent priority. And let's see, the worker for the lean-to tarp is going to be Ward Conlan. Foraging is going to be Augustine Yeboah. So there's 2 people really working away, while these 2 guys over here apparently is ravenously hungry, and so is his friend more than likely. Oh, he's just hungry. So, but they're still just kind of like toiling around. Literally, that's what, no, idling around, I should say, instead of actually helping these guys out. So this guy's going to take a seat over here too. Must be nice. I like to actually get some work done, but okay, this guy just looks like a nice little seat here. So if we highlight the area that we did forage initially, now we could go into gather. And there we go. So now we got some oil tubers here, so we could definitely... There's a lot of other things that we could actually acquire from this, but what we're really interested in is actually getting the oil tubers. And probably get some firewood too to kind of keep our thing going. So here you could actually, whatever is available there, you could actually give it like a numerical value as to how much you want to pick up and what you feel like picking up and what you don't. So let's get some stones and firewood for sure. Hit OK on that. And hopefully these guys are just kind of chit-chatting away. Okay, Khan is finally going to do some work along with Laner. So apparently these guys are our go-to picker-uppers, while the other two guys are just kind of building the base and whatnot. So here's the thing what I meant about the journal entries. For journal entries now, we got a number 6 over here by Augustine Yeboah. We will sleep in shifts to maintain security during the night. If predators appear, we should have sufficient warning. Now, there's another thing I haven't mentioned. There are going to be predators going to be coming after you and whatnot. Not too, I guess, frequent, but the more, I guess, you leave the little safe zone area, they will be coming after you, and they're also going to come into your base and actually try to like figure out what the fuck you're up to over here. So keep that in mind for sure. The other option is that you could actually move your camp around. If you go down over here to the camp menu, it says move camp, and you're basically allowed to just kind of move that wherever the hell you feel like, especially if you're going to start progressing up towards the map and whatnot, things to that degree. So if we look at our task over here, we still have the A-frame tarp, not assigned, not started on yet. Firewood, not started on yet, but we have at least built ourselves the 2 teepee person type of thing, or the 2 tarp thing, I should say. I should really stop referencing as a teepee for some reason. So now that we've done that, we could actually gather some oil tubers. That would be really actually important. So let me go ahead and make this an urgently important thing. So now Conlan's going to be working on the oil tubes. Firewood is not really that imperative, so let me switch the A-frame tarp. That's the other one that I want them to be working on right now. So again, like an easier, I guess, method of selecting certain characters to kind of go do certain tasks would be a lot really appreciated. The little red icons next to the name is telling you certain situations of them. So Yeboah is over here worn out. Khan is ravenously hungry. Well, you know, Khan, we'll get you some food soon enough. We just need to get those oil tubers up and running. So speaking of producing meals, we could actually go into the next step of the tutorial. Here's going to be produce a meal. We could prepare a meal by baking oil tubers in the campfire. To do so, click inventory in the bottom menu. Click and open the category prepared food. Find the entry baked oil tubers, etc., etc. So with that, let's actually go into the item menu down over here. And we'll be able to go into prepared food. And oil tubers, let's get 2 of these ordered up. And close that up right there. Alrighty. And Augustine has gone to sleep, and so has Ward Conlan. So, you know, luckily for them, we did throw them a little bit of a TP for them to actually sleep in. So I guess they're the ones that were actually working on it, so I guess they call first dibs on it, as opposed to Yeboah and Khan, who were just kind of chilling. Or was it Laner? I'm not sure who it was. But either way, so as you can see, Laner is over here dragging that stuff over to the fireplace in order to get some food going on over here. So baked oil tubers, Khan is actually working on that, and since they are hungry, let's actually make that a priority. And we can actually do 2 of them, right? So if we can, let's make those 2 urgently important, get them going. So that's basically the, I guess, part of the initial things to do. Now, a lot of the area on the map you'll see that's kind of, all of this is actually, you're actually able to get all the way out here to kind of forage for more stuff, find enemies, hunt. You could actually hunt. There's going to be tundra chickens, I believe some of them are called, and different animals, wildlife to actually hunt for food. Make it a lot easier, because you don't want your guys always eating baked oil tubers, whatever the hell that might be. Sounds a little bit exquisite, to be quite honest with you, but you know, I'm kind of a person that's really really, I guess I cross the line in terms of, like, you know, I always want to taste everything once. Yeah, that's what she said. But either way, how is our meal situation going on over here? So baked oil tubers, halfway there for the first one, and the first one's already been done, and then we have almost finished on the other one. So yummy. So you know what? If Ward Conlan believes that the baked oil tubers are good, then I really have no reason to actually feel otherwise about that whole situation there. So the other thing you can do is salvage. Well, obviously your spaceship has been knocked down. There's really not much you can do with it at this point. It's not going to fly anymore. So you could definitely salvage parts to actually help you in terms of building better fireplaces, etc., etc. So for that, you would definitely want to go into... Let me highlight this thing first and foremost. No, not the camp. Alright, so now we've actually chosen the aircraft World War II, right? So if you go into the little drop-down menu here, you can do a little bit of salvaging. The tail itself will give us a little bit of salvaging area as well, so salvage that. And the same with the rotor 1, number 1 I should say, salvage that. And you could also do the same with the hull. And as soon as I click that, salvage that right there, and there you go. So now all of the guys over here are going to be kind of taking the spaceship apart, finding whatever useful body part there it's available for us to use for whatever sort of MacGyver type of thing you want to build, and you'll be good to go with that. And again, you can always keep track of your tasks through the task menu right here, and it'll tell you what's been going on and whatnot. The A-frame tarp has not been built, which is, oh, okay. So it hasn't been built because I obviously don't have the tools for that, so that's partially my fault, if anything. So sticks and thermal tarps are what's actually missing. We do have sticks and leaves. Basically, what it's telling you on site is that what we do have in our stockpile area. We don't have any sticks or thermal tarps, so that's the reason why that has not been built. So, even though I'm over here bitching about them not building it, in reality, I have really no one to blame but myself. So what I could do for now is, let's see. Let's actually get a little bit of I guess, experimental over here and get this whole area. And we're gonna scout this area just to open up this little part for us and see what else lies in the wait. Maybe we could get into some combat before we wrap it up over here. Now the combat aspect again is also something that I'm sure will be developed more as the game progresses and whatnot. But the combat for now, again, I would like a single out a certain character, have them do a certain task type of thing, because for the most part what I've actually experimented with actual combat so far is that when there is an enemy and the rise, everybody just kind of goes balls to the walls and attacks them by themselves. And then there's sometimes it splits up and whatnot, and there's like 2 people taking on 1 pack and then 2 people taking another pack. So again, it's something that I'd like to be able to kind of micromanage a bit more in depth, essentially. Alright, so that area's been scouted out now, and now that we've done that, we could definitely go highlight all this, and for now let's actually send out a hunt party over on this side and see if anything good comes of that. If you go up here, you'll be able to see what's going on. Nighttime right now, obviously day number 2, early spring, year 40, temperature. So I'm sure that the temperature and all these things like that will have a impact on the overall well-being of your characters, whether it's illness, there's gonna be diseases, things like that. They're gonna have to keep health-wise, and other than just food and stuff like that. So yeah, boy, seems pretty well rested. Khan and Conlan, however, and Lair seem pretty worn out. Well, you know what, guys, I apologize for that, but, you could have easily just gone and taken a sleep where that other dude did so earlier. Now, let's go and do a little bit of gathering on this area and see what's available here. There's stones and some shade leaf. I guess we could just have them collect all of that. And there you go. So, I'm gonna go wrapping it up right here. Now, the first, this whole, I guess, scenario that's happening right now is basically the only thing available in the game at the moment in this early access build. It's basically, I believe, the developers have said it's roughly a 50-minute endeavor or so, and I do believe I actually went through the scenario once myself, and I lost 2 of my guys, unfortunately, due to like a crazy quad-eyed attack, which unfortunately I was really hoping to actually show off over here, but I have not been able to actually make that happen, which I'm really a little bit upset about, considering how vicious those quad-eyes were about, or the Twinklers I should say is what they were called. Twinklers is the name of the enemy, not any sort of weird reference to certain type of, either way, let me get off of that subject. But either way, this is basically what Unclaimed World is at the moment. This ends roughly in 50 minutes, and you'll get salvage. Basically how this ends is like a rescue ship comes and saves everybody and whatnot. There's going to be more episodes coming out, or like added content as the game continues onward. If you're wondering about that neo radioactivity type of things on items, that is because that was a certain item there that we're aware of, and now that we're out of its range, it's in blue and telling us where there used to be something there. Is it still there or not? It kind of works when you're hunting and there's enemies around. It'll tell you their last known location, so to say. There's going to be a lot of background, I guess, interaction between the guys. None of this is really too important. It's just mostly like flavor text for the most part when they're over here, like, picking up items and stuff like that. It'd be like, hey, Conlan, I found this obtuse item, and Conlan would be like, oh, hey, why don't you, shove it up your ass or something like that. Well, you didn't necessarily say that, but, it's just flavor text, essentially, just guy and girl talk, whatever you want to go with there. And they're going to be scouting this area up here. But yeah, pretty much let's wrap it up right here today, guys. This is a game that I will definitely keep an eye on because I'm really interested in. I'm really, really honestly hoping for that sandbox mode and save system to come in first and foremost, because I feel that once you have a sandbox mode, you definitely have a lot of, I guess, a lot of leadway as to what you could do with the game and whatnot. As you can see over here, I'm uncovering a bit more of the map. So definitely, once you have the sandbox mode, you could kind of, as a player, just mess around a bit more and try to just kind of keep your guys alive as long as possible. RimWorld is kind of the same way like that, where the whole thing itself is a sandbox mode. So even though at some point or another you get so overpowered that you could kind of keep your colony sustained for the longest time imaginable, at least you can still keep it going. Well, with Unclaimed World at the moment, there is a limit where it's going to pretty much end. And it's just a matter up to the developers how often they're going to release their content updates and things like that. So definitely, I definitely suggest you check out this game at least for the most part. I'm not sure if there's a demo available. I hope there is at some point or another just to get a few people more involved in this. But for sure, check it out if you're into the whole survival type of thing and like, you know, colonization and building and things like that. It really is going to be really good in that part. But again, I'm really holding up for that sandbox mode because I feel that it's going to definitely be the bread and butter of the game, so to say. So hopefully you guys enjoy this, and I know it's nothing too crazy yet, but that's basically what Unclaimed World is for the moment. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and if you did, I encourage you to go leave your support by clicking the thumbs up, and also be sure to check out the description. I'll have all the links available so you could go and check out Unclaimed World for yourself if so need be the case. Once again, guys, I will catch you next time.